Okay, so I'm going to make a pair of fall themed earrings with these ear wires that I made. You could use ready-made ear wires too, but I already put up the video for making, how I made the ear wires using a wig jig. And I have still have a little bit of the 20 gauge, and this is dead soft wire, and it's gold filled. And what I'm going to use, I have these copper acorn bead caps, and I bought these at Fusion Beads. I've had them for a long time, so I'm not sure if they still make them, but you can get a bead cap, something that would fit the bead that you're using. And these are transparent 12mm gold smoky topaz luster fire polished glass rounds, so they're kind of like a check glass, and I'm using that for the acorn part of the bead, the earring. And what I'm also going to use are these are some freshwater pearls that I had purchased quite some time ago on Fire Mountain Gems, and they're kind of small but kind of sweet. And these are like a copper colored straight wire, for head pin, basically. They're ready-made head pins. Now you could buy head pins in any metal that you want, but these are like a copper colored I think it's a brass coated wire. So and I bought these a long time ago, so I'm not sure where I purchased them, but you can, I know Vintage makes them, and you can get those at beading supply stores, and I typically buy mine online. But anyway, to start out, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a couple of pieces of wire to make my dangles for the earrings. So here I'm saving my little extra pieces, but anyway, so what I'm going to do is just measure out 2 pieces that are 1.5 inches long. And then I'm going to measure another one and just snip it with my jewelry wire cutters. And then I'm just going to put this away. And now that I have that done, I'm going to start out with my round needle nose plier. And what I did is I used a little marker to make lines where I want them, so that I could be consistent when I'm creating different shapes, loops on my needle nose pliers. So for this one, I'm going to, start right here, and I want a bigger loop. And I'm just gonna go around that area, and then there. And what I'll do here is just kind of finish the loop, make sure it's kind of the same size, and then I'm going to do the same thing for the other one. And this is going to be the bottom of the bead. So, and the reason why I'm doing this, I'm going to add the little pearls as dangles onto it. So I'm just kind of going around, And this is very soft wire, so it's pretty easy to work with. It's just harder to keep it shaped. So let's see if we got them about the same size. And again, perfection's overrated, so I'm not that worried about it being absolutely perfect, but I want it kind of close. And this is a hardening plier, so I'm just gonna squeeze it a few times to harden the wire a little bit so that it keeps its shape. And I'm going to do the same thing on this one. And I like to do both earrings at the same time so that they're more symmetrical. And I'm not going for perfection, but I am going for them being pleasing to me. Okay, so I put the bead on the wire, and this is going to be the bottom. I went ahead off camera and completed one of the earrings so that you can see where we're going with this. And I felt like I needed, originally I was going to put this right on the ear wire, but I felt like I needed a little bit of a spacer in between. So I have these little, I think they used to be Swarovski topaz, and I got these from Fire Mountain Gems, but don't think they carry them anymore. But you can just, you know, any kind of bead that you like, that you have, and that you'd like to use for it. So after I put this on, I put the cap on and try not to throw the bead across the room, and put the cap on the top of the bead like so. And then I'm taking my needle nose pliers and pulling it back a little bit, and then kind of, you know, this is a harder wire because it's thick, so it's a little more difficult than the real thin wire to do this, you know, to make your loops. But I'm just going to kind of make a loop, and I want to make sure it's kind of the same. So I think this one is getting kind of big, so I'm going to cut a little bit. I think the other one was a touch shorter when I measured it. So I'm just going to use my clippers and cut a little piece off so that this is not too big. And again, it's not perfection. It's basically, let's have fun. And I kind of move that loop, so I want to put that back. There we go. And I might just harden this a little bit. There. So that's pretty close to what I have. And then what I'm going to do next is, for the top, where I'm going to attach the ear wire, I kind of like the different colors of the metal. So this is kind of more like a antiqued kind of bronze look. And so I kind of use that for the little middle piece, and then for the little pearls on the bottom. And the other thing is, it's a very thin wire. So the freshwater pearls have very tiny holes. So this wire would not go through those holes at all. So it's easier for that part too. So I kind of wanted to have that back and forth in the design. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to just make a little tiny loop at the top. Using my needle nose pliers. And this could go right over the ear wire. And then I want to make sure it's closed. So that it doesn't slide off. And then I'm going to bring the bead up and cut this about there. I might have to cut a little more, but anyway, so I'm pulling it back a little with the pliers, and then I'm going to use another pair of pliers, and if you don't have these, you can use a second pair of whatever type of pliers you have for jewelry making. And try to make the loop before I attach it, because it's easier. Okay, so now we're at a point where I can attach it to the top and then finish bringing the loop closed. I'm trying to slide that right into the bead. So there you have your first part of the dangle. And now I'm going to make the little pearls on the bottom. So this is where you would want a head pin. And for the other part I could have just used a piece of wire, but I didn't have any of that color. So I used what I had. And this is a really tiny hole, so I might have to get a different pearl. Okay, so we have this so far, and I just added some pearls to the head pins. And what I'm going to do now is just make the little dangles like I did on the first one. So I just, the head pin has the little flat end that holds it in place. And I'm just going to bring the wire back a little bit and then make a little circle around the needle nose pliers. And before I go further, I'm going to try to get about the same for each one. Okay, so I'm going to take the next one and kind of do the same thing and try to get the loops close to the same size. This one's not. Now this wire is pretty soft, but I think the loop's a little, it's kind of close, so I think I'll leave that. If it was a harder you might need to do this with a second plier, but since this is a pretty soft wire, it's not really that necessary. Okay, so these two are closer. This one's a little larger, but it's not anything that's gonna be awful. So if I want to make it a little bit tighter, I'll just pull it with another plier. So at this point in time, what I need to do is snip the ends and start looping them on. And now I'm just straightening this out and bringing it closer into the hole of the pearl. There. So you have your first angle, and I'm going to do the same thing with the rest of them. Actually, I think I'm going to slide them on first. It's a little easier before I snip them. And then I want to bring that loop. Actually, I need to snip it a bit more. And then bring that little wire for the end of the loop closer into the hole of the pearl. You got your two, and then the last one. Let's see here. There we go. Okay, so I'm gonna snip that. And then again, I'm gonna, with the pliers, bring the wire closer into the hole of the pearl. There. So, at this point, we are finished with the two earrings. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you for watching, and all of you that have subscribed to my channel, thank you. And I hope you have a very creative day. Bye now.